They lasted nearly 8 years. They kept it quiet, almost invisible. But behind closed doors, there was love. There were fractures. And now, there's an ending.
If either of you were to ever engage with a real-life matchmaker, what would be one non-negotiable for you?
I don't, like, not an
Dakota Johnson, the fiercely private actress who once said she could watch her partner every day. Chris Martin, Coldplay's frontman, who once called her his universe in front of thousands. They were the couple who refused to play by Hollywood's rules. No red carpet debuts, no engagement announcements, no Instagram soft launches. But now, it's over, and sources say, this time it's for good. From a sushi date in LA to an engagement no one officially confirmed, this is the complete timeline of Chris Martin and Dakota Johnson's mysterious, on-again, off-again relationship, and why it might really be the end this time.
Before we continue, make sure to subscribe.
Because here at Union Stories, we dive deep into celebrity drama, mystery, and Hollywood's biggest untold secrets.
It started quietly, almost like a whisper in Hollywood's loud, flashing chaos. October 2017, Chris Martin is seen having dinner with a mysterious brunette at a cozy sushi spot in Los Angeles. The photos are grainy, but the headlines are loud. Is Coldplay's frontman dating Dakota Johnson? Just weeks later, Dakota Johnson is spotted backstage at a Coldplay concert in Buenos Aires, standing near the sound booth, smiling, swaying to the music. It wasn't just a one-off dinner. Something was happening. At this point, both of them had just come out of long-term relationships. Chris had finalized his divorce from Gwyneth Paltrow a year prior, and Dakota had recently split from musician Matthew Hitt. But insiders say their connection was instant, quiet, intense, and very real. By the end of 2017, the rumors were no longer rumors. Dakota and Chris had been spotted together in LA, New York, and even at Coldplay's recording sessions in London. They hadn't said a word publicly, but they didn't have to. The story had already begun. By January 2018, the spark had turned into something steady. Chris Martin and Dakota Johnson weren't just dating, they were building a rhythm. They were spotted together again, this time arriving in Chris's car at Soho House in Malibu. Dinner with friends, laughter, flirty smiles. It was clear they were more than just casually seeing each other. A few days later, they were seen walking the beach arm in arm. Sources told people they spent the whole weekend together in Malibu, and that something about them felt serious. Their first public appearance came quietly. Instead of a red carpet debut, they used a private entrance at Stella McCartney's fashion show. But even behind closed doors, the chemistry was obvious. Then came the moment that made headlines. Dakota's father, Don Johnson, when asked about his daughter's rumored romance, said simply,
"Yeah, that's troubling, isn't it? No, she's a big girl. She can handle herself."
Months later, Dakota's mom, Melanie Griffith, added a different tone. It was one of the few windows into the world they were building together. Quiet, intentional, and slowly deepening. By the summer of 2018, they were spending more time at home than in Hollywood. Friends described their lifestyle as calm, grounded, a sanctuary. The glitz and glamour, that was for their work. At home, it was just Chris, Dakota, and Zeppelin the dog. By the end of 2018, Dakota Johnson was no longer just dating Chris Martin. She was part of the family. That Thanksgiving, she joined Chris, his ex-wife Gwyneth Paltrow, her new husband Brad Falchuk, and their kids Apple and Moses for dinner. To outsiders, it seemed unconventional, but to those close to them, it worked. They were redefining what a post-divorce family could look like. In January 2020, Gwyneth confirmed what the public had suspected. Not only was she supportive of her ex's relationship, she adored Dakota. It was a rare moment of transparency and a clear sign. This wasn't a fling. Dakota Johnson was here to stay. And then they took it a step further. In early 2020, Dakota stepped behind the camera to direct Coldplay's music video for Cry, Cry, Cry. She pitched it just like any other director would, and Coldplay said yes. According to Dakota, there was no favoritism, but for fans it was clear this was collaboration at its most personal. By the end of the year, engagement rumors exploded. Dakota was spotted wearing a large emerald ring on that finger. No confirmation, no denial, But actions spoke louder than words. In 2021, a source confirmed the next step. They'd moved in together. Dakota traded the Hollywood Hills for Malibu, choosing ocean breezes over city lights. It was quiet, private, and deeply intentional. Their days were spent walking the beach, dining at local restaurants, and having Sunday dinners with Gwyneth and the kids. In a world obsessed with spectacle, Chris and Dakota chose stillness. In December 2020, one small accessory set the internet on fire: a bold emerald ring glittering on Dakota Johnson's left hand. Was it a fashion statement or something more permanent? The tabloids were certain. Coldplay's frontman had popped the question, but the couple, silent. No confirmation, no denial, just the ring and the mystery. By early 2021, whispers turned to assumptions. Sources confirmed that the couple had quietly moved in together months prior, living in Chris Martin's serene Malibu mansion. Dakota, once a self-declared city girl, had embraced the coastal calm. Beach strolls, Sunday dinners with Gwyneth Paltrow and her new husband, an unconventional domestic harmony. Still, the engagement was never officially acknowledged. To them, titles didn't seem to matter. The bond was real, whether the world had proof or not. But to fans and media alike, the question loomed: if they were engaged, why hide it? The answer, like most of their relationships, stayed behind closed doors. In a world that demanded answers, Chris and Dakota gave none. Their love was theirs alone, and that was the point. As the world slowly emerged from lockdowns and isolation, Dakota Johnson and Chris Martin remained exactly where they were most comfortable, in the quiet corners of their shared life. By 2022, they were 5 years in. No red carpets, no public declarations, just subtle glances, and a relationship that spoke volumes without a single word. While their romance stayed out of headlines, their support for each other never dimmed. In March 2023, Chris gave fans a rare glimpse behind the curtain, crediting Dakota for introducing a game-changing technology that made Coldplay concerts more inclusive for the hearing impaired. He didn't gush, he didn't name drop, he simply spoke with pride, the kind that comes from love that's lived, not performed. In early 2024, the couple escaped to Mexico for a post-Valentine's getaway. Just them, the ocean, and no engagement rings in sight. Yet the bond appeared stronger than ever. Then in March, the rumors were finally confirmed. An insider told people the engagement was real and had been for years. They had been quietly planning a future, even as they kept the world at a distance. But distance comes with its own risks. By August 2024, the whispers returned. Were they still together? Their reps denied it. Sources insisted all was well, that they were just private, just independent. But for the first time in years, cracks were beginning to show. By August 2024, the silence began to feel deafening. Dakota and Chris had always kept their love behind closed doors, but this time, something felt different. No sightings, no social media breadcrumbs, no concert appearances, just quiet. Breakup rumors caught fire, fueled by the absence, by the distance, by the growing sense that something had shifted. But just as quickly as the speculation rose, their team fired back. A representative for Dakota insisted they are happily together. A second insider doubled down. Yes, they've had their ups and downs, but things are great now. The couple, they claimed, had simply been misunderstood. They both have their own lives, they value their independence. They always have. And maybe that was true. But for a couple whose bond had always survived the spotlight, the absence of even a flicker of connection was telling. For fans watching closely, this didn't feel like just another break. After nearly 8 years of quiet devotion, whispered breakups, and reconciliations away from the spotlight, June 2025 brought what insiders called the end. Multiple sources confirmed what fans had started to fear. Dakota Johnson and Chris Martin had gone their separate ways. No public statements, no drama, just a quiet unraveling of a love that had once felt unshakable. But even in the silence, there were echoes of affection. At a Coldplay show days, after the news broke, Chris took a moment during the encore, not to speak of heartbreak, but to lift her up. Be kind to each other, he said. Don't forget to go see The Materialists. It was subtle, brief, but in those few words, there was Grace. For years, their love was marked by privacy, respect, and a bond that seemed to grow deeper the longer it remained unspoken. But even the strongest hearts sometimes drift. And so, without scandal or spotlight, one of Hollywood's most quietly enduring love stories came to an end. It began quietly, a cozy sushi dinner in Los Angeles in 2017. And for nearly a decade, Dakota Johnson and Chris Martin built something rare in the world of celebrity, a love that didn't demand attention. They protected their bond from flashing cameras and tabloid noise. No grand announcements, no Instagram declarations, just shared music, Malibu sunsets, and the gentle language of two people who chose each other again and again until they didn't. Even in the ending, their silence spoke volumes. No bitter interviews, no accusations, just a graceful parting of ways. And maybe the softest kind of heartbreak. In the end, theirs was a story that never shouted, but somehow everyone still heard it.